And look, Anna's home for Christmas.
Hello.
Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry about yesterday's video and the clickbaitiness of it, but nobody watched last year's birthday video for my son, so I made you watch this year. Sorry. Anyway, we haven't accomplished much the last couple of days, so we have got to get something done today. Our parts will be here for this afternoon. I'm pretty sure. I need to make a phone call and double check. But I think I'm going to get another tractor out and bring it in the shop, let it start warming up. So I'm going to go out and get one plugged in right now. We'll give it an hour or two to warm up. Brock is going to be here later today, so we'll have him helping us on some stuff or doing some cleaning or something. I don't know. It's super cold outside. I do not want to power wash outside today, so we may do a little bit of cleaning in the shop here. We may just bring a tractor in and maybe we'll change oil and stuff and worry about cleaning next week. It looked like Monday through Wednesday it was going to be at least in the high 30s instead of the high 20s. So that will be a little bit better for power washing when it's not, you know, freezing to the equipment and stuff. But we'll see. Also, we need to clean this mess up. We got to do some cleanup here. So that's the plan for today. Well, given the arrangement of how these tractors are parked back here, and these three are the next ones that all need to come through the shop, guess we're going to take this one. I'm pretty sure Dad's done with it. He said he was, so we'll take the 9R in the shop and get that one cleaned up next. We got to change oils and see what all else we got to do. I don't know about hydraulic oil and any of that stuff, but you know, our standard maintenance stuff: filter oils, air filters, cab filters, fuel, oil. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to plug it in. We'll let her warm up for a couple hours, and then we'll come back out here and move stuff around. We got to take all these tubes out. Okay. That cleans up a little bit of stuff in there. Now we got all the actual Schaefer louvers we should throw out on the scrap pile. I guess these chains can go out too, so I'm going to take them. This we're going to keep. This concave, this is the one that we took out that we changed for corn and beans to wheat. We need to put it away. Usually we just put it on the shelves over there somewhere, so I'll see if I can find a spot for it. Okay, this cord here, this is the cord that we use to run our little truck loadout auger, that red auger that I used to fill seed boxes from the wagons when I was treating wheat, down in my seed warehouse there. If you guys remember, I had to change the plug end for it to work with my outlet that I had there, so now that we're done with it, we need to change it back and put the end on it that works with our grain bin stuff out here. So you can see the difference in these two plugs. The ground pin is the same, but there's a wide pin and a narrow pin. You can see this one here is the wide pin and this one is the narrow pin, and on this one they're opposite. This is the narrow pin and this is the wide pin. This is a 630P, L630P, 30 amp, 250 volt plug. This is a 530P. It is a 30 amp, 125 volt plug. This is the right one. It's 230 volts. It should be this, but this is how all of our stuff got wired out here on our grain bins, and so it's what the fittings are, or the plugs are, and that's what we're going to use. But I know the right thing to do is to leave this plug on and change the receptacles out on the grain bins. But that would require changing 3 plugs that are already there, and I don't want to do it. So we're just going to put that one back on. It'll be fine. I understand it's not right. You don't have to tell me. Okay, that is back together and can go back out with that auger now. Well, I have moved stuff out of the way, pushed it over there, cleaned up a little bit more in here. I think, let's go get a tractor. We'll bring that 9R up here. We may let it sit outside and run for 5-10 minutes, warm up the oil so that we can just drop that when we get in here, because I know I got to do it. So we'll go out and bring it around front at least. Still got an anhydrous bar for sale. All right, we can unplug this. If you don't know what plugging the tractor does let me start over. If you don't know what plugging a tractor in does, or any diesel engine that has a external plug for that matter, there is a heater, a little electric heater that goes in through the engine block somewhere in there, wherever that cord goes, and it heats up the antifreeze that surrounds the engine, and that warms everything up just to make it a little bit easier to start. When it's cold out, and usually colder than today, it's not that cold, but it is cold, the oil gets thick, things just don't move real well, they aren't lubricated real well, and so if you can warm it up, that helps. Down. All right, let's see what happens here. Nothing to it. All right, we're gonna take this around the front of the shop, let her rev up and get warmed up real good so we can drop the oil. Always a good day when you get to drive a tractor, even if it is just around from one barn to the other. Oh, she's cold. Okay, we'll let her run for 5 minutes. We'll close our doors in the back. Gonna need some empty oil pails. Let's bring our tractor in. Oh, I need my door opener. It's in this tractor. Warming up. $28.85 on the engine hours. Okay, so on this tractor, there's a drain on the side of the engine oil pan somewhere. Right there. And it's pretty high, so it splashes, but if I screw this into there, then I've got a nice drain tube. Reach right down into a pail. That one might be a little long. I think I got a shorter one, but we're gonna do that. Kind of like that. Now we put our bucket under there. We reach down in there and turn our valve. And look at that, the oil comes pouring out. Cool. I don't remember exactly how much oil is in this engine, but it's the same engine that's on the combine, so I don't think it was more than 2 pails. All right, I got one full one over there. Oh, okay, maybe it's more than 2 pails. Either way, can't be more than 3, right? Yeah, it's slowing down. Judging by our filter there, we had 2,456 engine hours on this tractor on 1/23, January 23rd. So 2,456, is that what I just said? Yeah, 2,456, so we'll write that down to a little math. And that equals 429 hours this year. That's quite a few. Yeah, we put some hours on this tractor. That's okay, that's what it's for. I'm gonna get the book out of the cab so we can see what all needs to be done, when the last time we did all the hydraulic oil, all that kind of stuff, see if any of that stuff is due now or not. Okay, so I was looking at the book here at our service interval records and stuff, and I've got it all written down on this page, but 1,500 hour service, which you would think would be due at 3,000 hours, and we're awfully close to that, but we were a little late getting to it the first time around at 1681, so we've really got a little over 300 hours before it needs to be done, and I think we're probably going to just hold off and wait until next year to do the 1,500 hour service. We'll be at 1,550 or 1,600 hours, but it'll be okay. And basically the only thing that is changing all of the hydraulic oil, transmission oil, axle oils, all of that stuff. It's all one system, one reservoir, or one fill point, I guess, but it pumps it throughout the whole tractor. So if the filters hadn't been changed in that amount of time, I would be more apt to do it, but we had some issues with the rear axle lube pressure sensor, not this year, I think, was it 19 maybe, and it ended up at the dealer, and when we were trying to diagnose the problem, we changed all those hydraulic filters at that time, so they are not as old. Yeah, and so given that the filters have been changed once in that time frame when They aren't really called for. And we got several hours, or 300 hours worth of life in the oil yet, or more. Plus when you add some, and hydraulic and transmission oil is not as critical as engine oil. So we're gonna run it another year. We'll do that stuff next year. It also appears that Dad changed fuel filters this fall, 11/10 of 20 at 2,813 hours. So those only have about 70 hours on them. So we're not gonna change fuel filters either, which means we're gonna do engine oil, air filters, cab filters. So we'll go get them. I don't see a primary engine air filter here, unless it's in one of these other boxes somewhere, which makes me wonder if Dad changed that this fall too. So we'll have to check the date on the filter and see. But we got the cab filters and the oil filter, and there's a secondary engine air filter. We should probably change that. Well, it sure appears that he changed this. It's sort of dirty, but there's no date on it. And if there's no date on it or hours, then I didn't do it. So I'll have to talk to Dad and see what he did, what his thoughts are. But these filters suck. You can't clean them very good. And so when they get plugged up, you just change them. And I would rather be able to blow it out and clean it like you can a canister style filter, like in all of the other tractors, except for that one. These two are the only ones that have this style filter, and I hate them. Here's our new oil filter. It's a little bigger than the one that comes on your car or pickup truck. Okay, well, we're gonna let that engine oil drain at least while I go to lunch before we fill it back up. We have just a couple of shields that I want to take off to help us clean this up. There's one on the back of the cab right there. And then there are a couple up here on the front, just next to the fan there. We do need to get in there and grease that fan drive. So we'll have to get in there and put some grease fittings in and take some plugs out in order to get to that stuff. We'll maybe do that this afternoon. We're gonna pick some dirt off here this afternoon. Like I said, Brock is gonna be here, so we'll probably have him work on that a little bit. But any of this heavy stuff that we can pick off and throw in the wheelbarrow over here or on the floor, and we'll clean it up later or whatever. It's easier to do that while it's dry before we get it wet with the power washer. So we'll work on that here this afternoon. We are going to make this tractor shine. It's going to look real good by the time we're done with it. If that means getting our buffer out, we're going to get our buffer out, and we're going to ceramic coat it. This is the one that I did not ceramic coat last year. I waxed it. But I've got some of that Armor Shield 9 ceramic coating left, and it's going on this tractor. So we're going to do everything we can to make it the paint as close to perfect as possible before we put it on. Then we'll put that stuff on. But that's going to be a next week project most likely. We've got to get it clean first. So we'll get the rest of the filters changed here this afternoon and start picking some heavy dirt off. I'm going to get a couple of them shields off right now. But yeah, this one's going to be in here for most of next week, I would assume, or probably all of next week, especially with Christmas there. So we can also get our GPS receiver off, and I believe there's a 2630 display, yeah, in the corner post there that we can get that off and get the cab cleaned out, the whole 9 yards. Time to clean out our toolbox here. We got all kinds of stuff in there. All right, well, I got my GPS receiver off of the top there and cleaned that up and put it on the shelf in the office. Brock's here, he's doing the cab filters, and I guess I'm gonna start picking dirt off. Fun. Well, I guess that's the start of getting some of the dirt off. Anyway, I'm going to lunch. It's lunchtime. Okay, I'm back from lunch. I think our tractor's about done dripping oil, so we're going to fill it back up. Capacities, 9510R. We want the crankcase, including filter, PowerTech, 12.7 gallons. That would be 50.8 quarts. She's gonna take a minute. You guys may remember from this fall, we were having air conditioning troubles with this tractor, and we tried to add a little bit of Freon in here, but judging by the condition of that pump or compressor there, I would say we've got a leak or a bad compressor. My Uncle Jack looked at it after I did one day. He thought the compressor was bad, so we're gonna have to address that. It's not something I feel like I am qualified to do, so it's not something I'm going to do. But I'll see if Jack wants to do it sometime, and if not, we'll have the dealer come out and do it. But if it needs a new compressor, then that's what we're gonna do, because you can't run these tractors with a cab that are meant to have air conditioning without air conditioning. It's not a good thing. So, but we'll get it cleaned up, but we'll probably worry about that later. Jack hasn't been around much here recently. I think he's under quarantine orders or something along those lines, and not allowed to get out too much, but I haven't seen him for a while. That, or he's got his own project in his garage or something he's working on. Could be that. Brock cleaned the cab out a little bit. I topped off, I put some hydraulic oil in because it was a little low on the sight gauge over here. Right here, it's not above that mark there, which is kind of the low, and then if it's below this one, you don't even start it. But I put a gallon in there. The problem is it's got to be running in order to pump the oil up into this reservoir here, and the level is right below this. Yeah, I could see it in there, so we'll try that. I might need to add another gallon, but I want to run it before I do that. You can see this sight gauge gets all cloudy and stuff here. When we changed the hydraulic oil in this tractor the last time, I actually spun it 180 degrees, so the actual marks are on the other side of the tube, but it had gotten all cloudy from the sunlight and stuff on it, so I rotated it, made my own marks, and now it's cloudy again. So when we do change the hydraulic oil on it next year, we'll put a new sight tube on there. All right, well, we're getting some windows washed and shining up the inside of the cab on that tractor a little bit. Our lights and parts should be here any minute, so kind of waiting on those. And that tractor there, I think we're gonna have to start washing it is kind of the next step, and I want to clean up all the dirt off the floor before we spray any water inside, or we need to take it outside where it's 25 degrees, and that ain't no fun either. So okay, so we are going to grease the fan drive on this tractor. These newer John Deere R-Series tractors and stuff all have these variable speed fans, and basically it's got a variable speed sheave here that opens and closes, changes the diameter of that pulley, which changes the one on the driven side there to speed up and slow down this fan. But they've got some grooves or whatever inside there that need lubricated, so we have to grease them. And we use cornhead grease for this. It's a lighter weight grease that basically when it gets hot it melts and turns into a heavyweight oil. And the way that we grease this is we have to pull out this plug right here, and then we have to pull out the plug that's in the center of those bolts right there, and we put a grease zerk in the one in the front. We pump grease in there until we can see it through this hole, and then we put all the plugs back in. And then we basically have to do the same thing with one on the fan side of it, but the plug is clear in there in the center, on the front there. And I'll have to look and see if there's another plug, something. I don't know, I'm gonna need some light. So anyway, that's what we gotta do. I'm gonna get the Allen wrenches, get those plugs out, and we'll get our grease zerks put in. Okay, so we've got our plugs out, and I got a grease zerk put in there. We have a grease gun here labeled cornhead grease. This is what we pump in there, so I got to get this on and pump, and it requires two hands, or at least for a minute it does. Okay, it's coming out. We may have put one or two pumps too many in there. It's not supposed to come out the hole. Now it's going to yell at us that it has a low fan speed all summer and fall, and it's fine. It's fine. But basically it gets too much pressure, and I might try and pick a little bit out before we put the plugs back in. I didn't know this when I first started. I always greased it until grease came out the hole, and then they told me, oh yeah, you're only supposed to grease it until you see it move in there. How many pumps did you do?
14.
14. Well, I did 100, so it took 114 pumps. Should have done 112. Okay, I picked a little bit of grease out of there, and we got the plugs back in. Now, the difficult one. Right, somewhere in there. Now I can't see my phone, so I have no idea what you're looking at. But it's in that middle of that fan there. And I think there's another plug somewhere. We got to figure out where it's at. Well, I found the plug, and we got the hose on, fitting on the front. Now we got to watch that hole for the grease to move in there. Nothing yet. Oh, there it is. There it is. Got it. Comes fast. As soon as you see it start moving, it's pushing off that hole. All right. Get that off. There we go. Clean it up, put the plugs back in. Okay. Well, we got our parts delivery, but I'm a little frustrated because apparently my lights are not here. All the wiring and washers and nuts ×2 are here, but not the lights. So we did get the switch, we can install that, and we got our sensor that we need to put in the transmission, so we can install that. I'm waiting for a call back from the dealer to figure out what the heck all this other stuff is and where my lights are. But oh well. So we got to figure this out, which means we've got to do a little electrical tracing to make sure we get it in the right pins. Okay, so essentially what we need to do here, we tested, and it's the 2 pins on this side here. One of them's got power coming in, the other one is going to the light. We have continuity to the plug out there, so we need to connect them. And so I pulled on the mating connector there, I pulled this kind of lock out. We pulled the plugs out of the end here, and we push our new wires in, and then it should work. Should. All right, I have no idea what the last thing I filmed was, but we had all kinds of stuff going on here. Dad blew a hydraulic hose on the backhoe, that one that where Brock is currently trying to get the sleeve off of. You can see this here, she's pretty rough shape. So he wanted me to tell you how prepared he is, because we, look at this, have a brand new one right here, all ready to go. It was just laying on the parts rack over there. So, and look, Anna's home for Christmas.
Hello.
So, yeah, we got to put a new hose on, then he can take it back and he can keep working. So I had to go help Dad get that cylinder off, or at least attempted to. And while I was gone, Brock changed our sensor for us down here. And, well, there's oil on the floor, and I hear Brock got a surprise, and he filmed it for us.
Yeah, you'll see it.
Let's roll that.
Nathan had to go help his dad on something he was doing, so I'm changing the sensor on the loader tractor. Under here the other day when Nathan was under here, he cleaned up the spot where the sensor is. Yep. Right up there. We just gotta take this wire off. And there it is. So I'll get that unscrewed. We have our new one right here. Get it put into place. And should be ready to go. Change both sensors, should have the problem fixed. Well, under the loader tractor. And in the process of taking the sensor up there, decided to leak oil all over. So, guess we're gonna have to go to plan B. Don't know what that is, but we're gonna have to go to it. So, I guess our only plan right now is take the old one out and put the new one in as fast as we can. So, here we go. Got the new one in. Not too much oil leaked, just a little bit. Tightening it up. I'm gonna get that electrical cleaner that we got the other day from John Deere and clean up in this fitting a little bit before we put it back together. Don't want that to be the problem. If I can prevent that from being dirty, I'll do that. Here we go.
How was that video of Brock getting oil poured all over him? I haven't seen it yet. I hear it's pretty good. I remember what I was working on before now. It was these lights. So this is our new switch, and it works. And when it's on, we have power to the plug under the fender where we're gonna plug in the light that is gonna go right there. And when I talked to the John Deere dealer who called me back here a little bit ago, and asked them where my lights were. They said, oh, those are on back order and you will get them, it said, on 12/25 of 20, which I'm guessing we ain't gonna get them then, because that's Christmas. So hopefully the week after Christmas we'll get our lights, but it's what it is. And just like that, everybody left and it's quiet in here. Dad and Brock went to put that cylinder back on the backhoe, you know, went in the house, something. So it is about 4:45. I'm gonna call it good enough for tonight. Go spend a little time working on a computer here, and we'll come back to this tomorrow. We did have a very productive day today. I mean, we got the oil changed and the filters changed that we needed to. Picked a lot of dirt off of that tractor. We got the cabs cleaned out on both of them. Brock washed the windows and polished a little bit on this tractor. We got that switch put in and stuff, so we're just waiting on those lights there. That tractor is basically done. We can use it if we need to. We did get that sensor installed. I haven't turned it on yet to see if that's going to fix our problem or not. We'll worry about that another day when we can get it out of here. I'm trapped in right now. But yeah, so tomorrow, if we can, we're probably going to wash some on the big tractor here. Probably just hose or maybe power wash inside here, but gonna work on that. We'll see what else I can find to do, but I'm sure there will be something. So have a great night. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that like and subscribe buttons for me, please, if you would. And if you have any questions, comments, leave those down below. We'll be sure to answer them. And see you guys tomorrow. One more day this week. Someday I'm gonna get back to this project too. I was looking online and I found a source for pistons and sleeves or liners or whatever you want to call them. But you gotta know which ones you're buying. I think that casting number is important to make sure that they're the right size. So I was getting some of that information, but we will get to working on this. We're far enough ahead with our big projects and tractors and stuff that I'm hoping by February or March time frame I've got some free time and can work on this.